Good evening, everyone. Appreciate the opportunity to share some brief thoughts with you. That I know Councilwoman James will present some brief thoughts, and I think we'll both be available to engage in a back and forth dialogue about the issues that have been presented to date and what it is that we can do moving forward to ensure that if this project comes to fruition at some point, we minimize the detrimental impacts that it will have on our quality of life. Now, I was first sworn into office on January 1st of 2007, which was just a few weeks after the Public Authorities Control Board had first authorized the Atlantic Yards project. And certainly it's been an interesting time. In the time that I've been in Albany, I've already been through several different governors, two governors as a matter of fact, two lieutenant governors, two state controllers, 3 United States senators, 4 state senate majority leaders, the investigation of David Patterson, the resignation of Elliot Spitzer, the prosecution of Joe Bruno, multi-million-dollar budget deficits, a coup d'etat which shut down the New York State Senate for more than 30 days. And those are just the highlights. And you know, I thought that I had seen it all. Seen it all. And then along came Carl Palladino. Now, fortunately, he wasn't elected governor, but we will have a new governor. And in that time period that I just described, relatively brief, December of 2006, when the Public Authorities Control Board first authorizes the project, to January 1st of 2011, which is just around the corner, we will have been through 4 governors in 5 years. And the consequence of that, I believe, given that this is an initiative that is conceived at least as a public-private partnership with public involvement and oversight at the state level from the Empire State Development Corporation, is that there's been chaos and uncertainty and a lack of direction and focus from the state agency that is charged with oversight and accountability, responsibility as it relates to the Atlantic Yards project. And that's been very detrimental, because in essence what has occurred is that we've had a public-private project without any real public input, from the beginning to the middle to its expected completion. And so that's why Senator Montgomery and myself, with the assistance and the support of Councilwoman James, have introduced both the Atlantic Yards Governance Act, which sets forth a prescription for the creation of an entity that would have oversight, authority, and robust community input as it relates to the Atlantic Yards project moving forward in a wide variety of areas, including dealing with traffic and transportation concerns. That's one bill we've introduced. The second bill that we've introduced would authorize the Empire State Development Corporation to enact or create a subsidiary specifically related to the Atlantic Yards project that would serve the function of providing oversight, professional engagement and accountability, a greater degree of transparency and community input. It's a bill that we've begun to advance in the Assembly. Was introduced last year, has passed through the Corporations Committee, it's now with Ways and Means. Senator Montgomery is doing all that she can. It has the support of the current governor, David Patterson. Hopefully it will have the support of the incoming governor, Andrew Cuomo. And I'll end on this point and then allow Councilwoman James to address some of the other issues like residential parking permits, which I'm open to and support, though I'm interested in seeing, obviously, what the final product would look like. And want to make sure that, as with the other cities, The financial imposition on residents is nominal at best. As you saw, in some cases in Boston it was 0, and in Chicago and Philadelphia and other places it was 25 to 35, or else if we simply hand over discretion, certainly to this mayor, he's going to use it as an opportunity to raise revenue on the backs of working families and middle-class communities, and I don't think we should permit him to do that. On the, I'm hoping that will get some applause. But on the subsidiary issue, I just want to make this one last point. And I've made this directly to the governor and to ESDC, and finally, I think this is what persuaded them to support it. Every other major development project that has gone through or has been subjected to ESDC jurisdiction has a subsidiary. Moynihan Station has a subsidiary. Brooklyn Bridge Park had a subsidiary. Queens West on the waterfront out in Queens has a subsidiary. But somehow this is a project that has been allowed to operate with a different set of rules. And because it's been allowed to operate with a different set of rules, without explanation, or any real distinction, we find ourselves in a situation where many of the concerns that have been articulated in this presentation have not been addressed, even though it was the government's job to address them. And ESDC has fallen down on the job. It's our hope to be able to correct that with the governance and subsidiary legislation that has been proposed. Look forward to the question and answer exchange after Councilwoman James speaks.